Hey everyone, I'm meteorologist Joe Murgo. It is time for another episode of That's Cool. Sorry, I was away a couple of weeks. Our producer was away for a little bit. So it's been a long time, and I've actually had some of these things in a hopper for a while to talk about some cool things that I have seen. And one of them, I have to give kudos to meteorologist Mike Doyle's dad. Yes, Mike and his dad actually do this a lot. They have a tradition of going to, those people at the beach who can make these sand sculptures that are just unbelievable. Well, that's them. I was always jealous. I'm lucky if I can put together a little castle with a couple of blocks. Take a look at this. This was the anniversary of the moon landing. So take a look at this tribute to the lunar landing. The Liberty Bell, they are from the Philadelphia area. So that was really cool. And the detail, and then a hand reaching out from the sand. And if you look closely, you can even see the lines on the finger. Maybe one year we'll see Mike's dad doing the sand sculpture at the Central Pennsylvania Festival of the Arts. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. And the one thing, you hear my Kramer moment, that comes at the end. I'm going to share a funny but embarrassing story with you guys because, you know what? That's Cool is all about just whatever we think is a bit fun. And I found out something, and I'll talk about that coming up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look now. This is going ahead and taking a look at the next leg of our railroading through the Rockies, and we went to Butchart Gardens. Now, let me tell you the story about these gardens. This is really cool. The Butchart was the family that they had a limestone quarry there. And they ran the limestone quarry up until it ran out in about 1909. Jenny, my little Forrest Gump reference there, the wife wanted to take this open limestone quarry and made a beautiful garden out of it. And so she put together, and it is the garden is now filling where the quarry used to be. There's an Italian garden, there is a Japanese garden. There's all these different gardens there, and they have all these statues in there. And if you go to my Facebook page, you can see you can argue that there were two hogs there, but you have to rub the nose of the hog for good luck when you first move on in. So they took what was once a very barren area and made it into a beautiful garden. And I just have a couple of pictures here, but I actually on my Facebook page put all the pictures up from the gardens. And if you like flowers, and this one's for Christy Shields because she loves flowers, this is a place to see. And there was also a fountain, a video there. I think I gave him a fountain. Now take a look at this. This fountain was one of my favorites there, and that is the Ross Fountain. You could see it there, and a nice thing that you could do on your phone, and I did do it, but I didn't share it here. You can actually take this and put it into slow motion. It's really cool. It throws out different random patterns all the time going, and you could see how this once was a limestone quarry, and there's different areas. We spent about 2 hours in that sunken garden, and we probably could have spent 2 more there. And for all of the beauty that you want to see, just go on out. And this is in Victoria, Canada, and it's beautiful. It is well known across the world for their flowers. All right, now just come up on me. I'm going to set this story up here, Kevin. So this is I'm going to go into my Kramer moment at this point in time. So this past week, I went. Every year I go off for the Perseid meteor shower, which we barely saw any meteors while we were there this year, thanks to the moon and also some clouds, but mostly the moon was just too bright this year. And we were out in Colorado. And while we were there, we stopped. I knocked off my 44th state. I'm going for all 50 states. I knocked off my 44th state, which was New Mexico. And then we stopped at Colorado Springs for Pikes Peak, which I think is the highest mountain that you can drive a car up to. So my friend meteorologist Howard Bernstein from WUSA in Washington, D.C., his wife, Helene, and my wife, Mara. We all were in the car and we're going up. And we got to the start of Pikes Peak. We talked to the guy. He handed us a pamphlet of all the things you should know before going up. And of course, we did this typical thing a guy usually does, and I shoved it right next to the glove box and let it go from there. About 1/4 of the way up. And now you go up from about 8,000 feet to 14,000 feet in a car. And about 1/4, not even 1/4 of the way up, I'm like, how are we on gas? And Howard then said, oh, we're low. And then the low, you barely see it there, the low fuel light came up before we were 1/3 of the way into the trip. And I said, you know what? It's probably safer if we turn around and get gas. But no, we decided to march on, and we made it to hash marks and sweated our way all the way to the top of the mountain. And actually at the top of the mountain, it was covered still with grapple and snow. It was kind of really cool up there. But it says miles to empty. And you can come back on me before we show that last one. Let's go back to me, or you can't, Kevin. Or we can leave it on the photo. So yeah, all right. So it said miles to empty, and we were in Infinity. That was our rental car. We got a nice upgrade. That was nice. It was the only car around, so they gave it. But once you get down to 10 miles before empty, it goes to hash marks. Well, we still had about 5-6 miles to go up when that came on. All right. And if you ever watch Seinfeld, the one moment that Kramer was doing a test drive in the car and he goes, I want to see what it's like to make it to E. Well, that was our Kramer moment, my Kramer moment, because we didn't stop. Howard kept on going up. We were on dashes. We were on low fuel. At the top, we talked to a ranger. Howard did. It's a little embarrassing, but he goes, what would happen if someone would run out of gas? And he goes, well, I do a sweep at 7 o'clock, so I would find you. And that was good to know. So we went down and we made it, believe it or not. And it was on the dashes all the way, the rest of the way up, all the way down. Very nerve-wracking. Our wives ended up actually being from nervous to laughing their heads off about it, because once you get to the bottom of the mountain, and Ranger was gonna come and get us, but the bottom of the mountain, there isn't a gas station, and he said turn left, and Google said turn right. What do you do? Well, left was uphill, so I convinced Howard we turned right, and we coasted to a gas station. Now, the listed gas tank size of an Infinity is 19.5 gallons. For the model we had. Here is how much gas we put into the tank. So we made it to fumes. And not good for the car. So I'm sorry, Alamo, about that. And so if you consider what was in the gas line and what I filled up, because we topped it off all the way at that point in time, and the gas line, we were down to absolutely nothing. So I did find out that you have the takeaway moment from my Kramer moment, and that's cool, is, and I do not suggest doing this, but you have more than 10 miles when you go to the dashes on your car. Now, there's other reasons why you don't want to do that for your fuel filter, and I'm sure some of you are going to sit there and really scold me about that. But again, we got to the point there was no turning around where we were. So we might as well have gone to the top of Pikes Peak, which I'll probably show you some pictures on our next episode of That's Cool. But that's it for this week. I hope if you have any ideas that you want me to talk about, I do have a couple of things I still want to talk about. I have to set some appointments up. That's really, literally cool. But for now, I'll see you later on the news.